home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Three more days until Oklahoma faces their stiffest test of the season to date, going down to Bryant-Denny Stadium to face off with number 4 Alabama. As we mentioned yesterday on the show during Trivia Tuesday, it will be the first time Oklahoma plays a conference road game against a top 5 opponent since they faced off with number 3 Oklahoma State in Bedlam in 2011. So it has been a while since Oklahoma went on the road in conference play to play a game of this magnitude, and it would be quite the marquee win, quite the resume builder for Oklahoma if they're able to pull it off. Now, as things unwind here in the month of November, a pivotal stretch coming up for Oklahoma on the gridiron, no question about it, but plenty of proverbial bowling pins still in the air on the recruiting trail, and we'll unpack some of those dynamics throughout the show here on this Wednesday. Want to remind you right off the bat, this show is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. If you're shopping around for a brand new vehicle, why not give Dorsey Jones a try? GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones offers phenomenal service, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. So make the drive out to El Reno and check out Dorsey Jones. Grayson Singleton, how we feeling? It's hump day.
It is hump day. We are in the middle of the week, and it's apropos that you start out the show saying 3 days until Alabama, because isn't that where we're all trying to get to at this point? We're all trying to get to 2:30 on Saturday afternoon, aren't we?
Props to you for the use of the word apropos. Very impressive.
Hey, Stephen A. Smith can teach you some vocabulary now.
Is that where you picked that up, Stephen A.?
Long time ago, yes.
Oklahoma sits here right now, Mr. Singleton, with the number 19 class in the nation in 2026. Now, that number, that ranking, does have the potential to rise sharply over the final 3 weeks of the recruiting cycle. And as we sit here today, we are 3 weeks away from early signing day. December 3rd, 2025. That's when we will know the signees, all of the signees that comprise Oklahoma's 2026 haul on the recruiting trail. As of right now, the Sooners have a healthy crop of commits. Is it 21, 22? It's 22. Yes, 22 commits thus far. One of them is a specialist. He's on scholarship, but he's a specialist. So say what you will about the presence of a specialist in the class. Regardless, the Sooners have 22 scholarship commits as of right now. And it's looking, Grayson, as though this class could potentially be a little bit bigger than initially anticipated. Pretty sure that the class size we had teased midsummer, and it's probably been that long since we talked about it, was 22 to 24, somewhere in that range. With 22 on board right now, here's what we know about Oklahoma's priorities the rest of the way. We know that they are chasing the commitments of at least 2 additional offensive linemen, Jonas Muya from the state of Indiana and Noah Abibi from Friendswood, Texas. You get those 2, that gets you to 24. And then the flip potential that exists with the likes of Messiah Mickens, Jacob Eberhardt, Jaden Petit, etc. Those aren't the only 3, but those are what I would consider right now the most likely 3. that could send this Oklahoma class all the way up into the 25, 27 range. You could have as many as 27 dudes in this class, which would be Oklahoma's biggest class since 2024. That stands as the largest, numerically, of the Brent Venables era. Oklahoma signed 27 scholarship commits that year.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that the name University of Oklahoma hasn't lost its luster. You just got to put a product on the field that people are going to say, hey, I want to come play for.
Amen.
I mean, that's all that comes down to. Now, I will say 27 is a lot, though, and it's blowing the projection that even you had out of the water. So, like, at what point do you stop taking – and I know we're going to talk about potential flip guys in a second, but a guy like Jacob Eberhardt, you would have thought that would be a guy, okay, Oklahoma might have closed the door on, right? You filled your void that it looked like you were going to have at wide receiver. Oh, but here comes Jaden Petit. He might be in the flip. So does it affect the calculus from a front office standpoint in your estimation as to, okay, how are we going to deal with this, having this larger influx than we thought we otherwise were going to have?
Yeah, this is a dynamic we've discussed on a surface level before, but I think it just speaks to the reality that the front office has several guys in mind on the current roster that they would not like back on the roster next year. I think if you're taking a heavier class, more often than not, what's coming alongside that, the sidecar to that, is quite a few portal departures. Now, planned portal departures. We're not talking about Oklahoma losing guys to the transfer portal that they didn't want to or didn't intend to lose, but there are probably 10 to 12 players on the roster right now that are going to get a gentle shove out of the proverbial nest, if you will. And that's probably going to be the best for their futures, or for the best for their futures, I should say, in addition to being for the best for Oklahoma as well. Because there are certain guys all across the board that probably are just never going to make a meaningful impact at the University of Oklahoma, and that's fine. Just because you can't or won't make a meaningful impact at the University of Oklahoma doesn't mean you can't or won't make a meaningful impact somewhere else in the P4 or in the G5. Or, we've seen former OU scholarship guys drop down to the FCS or D2 level in the past. That happens too. Whatever the case, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see Oklahoma usher close to a dozen guys out of the program this offseason. And they'll be the type of portal departures that feel pretty inconsequential. You're not really going to regard them as headlines necessarily, but that helps clear the path for a heavier class. Because Oklahoma's only scheduled to graduate 18 guys. So, figure 18 guys graduating. If you have, let's say, call it 12 guys leaving via the transfer portal, then really what that enables you to do in the portal, Grayson, when that window opens up in January, is that you don't have to do what Oklahoma has had to do in the past, and you don't have to scour the portal ranks for 8, 9, 10 guys. And you don't have to find guys to fill immediate positions of need. I don't know if Oklahoma's going to have a true position of need this offseason in the portal. There are certainly rooms, there are certainly position groups where you'll want to add a guy that's capable of starting, capable of making an impact. Tight end comes to mind.
Bingo.
I can see a world where Oklahoma wants to go snag a big-time receiver. They probably need an offensive lineman with starting experience at the P4 level. Or, a guy like Derek Simmons who's done enough at a lower level to make you feel like he's ready for the competition that he's going to face in the P4. But regardless, I think what that allows you to do is figure out 4 or 5 slots on your roster and spend big to go and grab guys for those respective slots. To me, the biggest need this offseason is running back. I feel like you got to have another proven, capable back. Even more so than there's a need at tight end or offensive line or wide receiver or defensive line or any other position group, I feel like the need is the most evident, most conspicuous at running back because Yes, Jahsiear Robinson has played well. Yes, Torrey Blaylock has played well. Yes, those two are probably at the head of the table in the Oklahoma committee next season, but you have to have depth in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have more than two backs that you can trust out there.
Especially if you only sign one running back out of high school, too. You're probably going to want to go to the portal for another one. Now, what other one is that? Is it paying up for the top running back in the portal? Okay, maybe not if you're confident in Torrey Blaylock and Jahsiear Robinson. But you do need another one. Tight end, to me, is the most conspicuous. To me, like, that's the one where no matter, even if you hold on to, and you're likely to hold on to, Ryder Mix and Tyler Ruxer in the 2026 class, you're still going to need another tight end. Like, I mean, that's just obvious.
I'll tell you this. You mentioned signing just one running back in the 2026 class, and for the moment, Oklahoma only has one committed in Missouri blue chipper Jahsiear Walker. Right now, I'm starting to feel pretty dang good about Oklahoma's chances to sway Messiah Mickens off his Penn State pledge. That's looking promising for Oklahoma. And what a flip that would be, man. We're going to have another DeMarco Murray positivity hour if that comes to fruition.
If that happens, yeah.
Because, and we've talked about it before, a kid from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that's been committed to Penn State since before his sophomore year of high school, and you are talking him into coming all the way down to Norman, Oklahoma to play his college ball, when that wasn't even really something that was on the radar until 6 weeks before signing day. What a job that would be by DeMarco Murray and this Oklahoma staff and front office if they could pull that off. And if they do, that has you feeling a little bit better about the stable at running back, because Mickens and Jahsiear Walker are two guys that, you know, when you look at the tape, it's clear they can have a year one impact. Do you want to bank on that? Not necessarily, which is why I think it still makes a lot of sense for Oklahoma to go pursue an experienced and talented portal back, and I know for a fact they're going to. But it certainly diminishes the necessity of going and finding a big-time guy if you're able to bring in not only Jahsiear Walker, but Messiah Mickens as well. Two guys that offer year one upside.
Yeah, no doubt. And on the text line, 405-651-3439, a texter in the 405 says, go get Caleb Hawkins from North Texas. Tattoo Baker says, Caden Durham, ? And that's the thing. I know a lot of fans are going to want to go big game hunting at running back. But again, is it the best use of finances to go get a big-time running back when your backfield you plan to have it be led by Torrey Blaylock and Jahsiear Robinson? And even though the names are going to be sexy and whatnot, I just don't think it's worth the financial investment to bring a guy like a Caden Durham, if he leaves LSU, or Caleb Hawkins, who will likely leave North Texas, to bring him into a backfield where you already feel great about your 1-2.
And here's what we can't have, folks. I'm seeing this a lot on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Well, Jaden Ott worked out great, didn't he? Listen, just because the last big-time back that Oklahoma took out of the portal was and is a complete bust does not mean you should be allergic to pursuing transfer portal running backs in the future. Now, are you going to necessarily make the same investment of money into your next portal back that you made into Jaden Ott? Almost certainly not. You would figure the folks in that building are smart enough to understand that that acquisition has gotten them virtually nowhere. And they've gotten essentially zero ROI from Jaden Ott. They're just as aware of that as all of y'all are. And so, are they going to be a bit more careful this time around as to who they pursue and making sure they vet things from every angle to make sure that they're not taking a colossal swing and miss on a guy that's not going to provide any value at Oklahoma? Yes. But you cannot allow the outcome of the Jaden Ott experience to cloud your judgment as to what Oklahoma ought to do in the transfer portal this year, because they are going to need another back, and they know they're going to need another back, and that is high on the priority list right now, is to go get another back.
As it should be. Logan Taylor on the YouTube chat says, if we can flip all three of those 4 stars, Jacob Eberhardt, Jaden Petit, and Taven Epps, I'm guessing he's using a bunch of initials.
Mickens.
No, he said T-E.
T-E? Well, yeah, I would assume he's talking about Taven Epps, yes, but Taven Epps has decommitted. He is back on the market.
Right. No,
and he's also a 27.
Right, and that's the point. So let's just narrow it to the 3. Jacob Eberhardt and Jaden Pettit get the 2 offensive line guys that we've talked about the last couple days, and then add a few big names in the portal, where do you think this class could rank? I think it could be top 12.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. I bet you're in the 11-12 range if you make all of those additions. I don't know, On3 doesn't have a calculator the way that 24/7 does, but there's also a lot more volatility in On3's rankings than there is in 24/7's, at least as far as the team is concerned. Like, the same guy that helps you make a 5-point jump in the rankings for On3 might help you jump up 1 or 2 spots for 24/7. So the equation is a little bit different, but if I had to guess, the potential additions of Mickens, Eberhardt, and Petit, along with Jonas Muya and Noah Abibi, that would likely have you on the borderline of the top 10, right on the cusp.
What are the chances that Eberhardt ends up at Oklahoma?
It's not something I'm counting on because of the emotional connection to Illinois, which we went over at the time. Dad obviously played there. Dad has since passed. It's a very meaningful thing for Jacob Eberhardt to be able to continue the family legacy at the University of Illinois. But I will say, man, just gauging the confidence level from the OU side of things, I don't know that I would use the word confidence, but optimism is definitely there. We always got to distinguish between those two because optimism and confidence are not the same thing. They were confident the first time around that they were getting Jacob Eberhardt's commitment. Then obviously he pulled one over on him and committed to Illinois. They're optimistic, though, that they can turn him away from that Illinois pledge by signing day. Will it happen? Who's to say? Ultimately, it's a decision that the kid has to make for himself, and there are going to be a lot of emotions and a lot of opinions tied up in that from within the family circle. But Oklahoma thinks it's enough of a realistic possibility that Brandon Hall spent his Friday up in the St. Louis area visiting Eberhardt this past week. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Keep it right here on the Ref. We got to hit a quick break, hear from our fine sponsors that make it all possible. On the other side, more of your questions, comments, opinions, and a lot more OU recruiting talk here on Locked In.
This is Deion Burks, and you're listening to The Ref, the home for Sooner fans.
Let's talk turkey. Riverwind is OKC's favorite place to play.
And we've got plenty of jackpots to be thankful for.
Why stop at one thrill when you can chase all 3 at once?
Play blackjack, baccarat, and roulette on our all-new gaming machine.
Looking for the best in rewards? Elevate your player status when you win with your wild card.
Fridays in November, play for your share of our $120,000 Pixel Power giveaway.
Expect the best at Riverwind.
Coach Stoops here for Van Hoos Fence. If you want to work with the best local fence company and get championship service, contact my friend Mark and the Van Hoos Fence team. Van Hoos Fence gives each customer the most professional craftsmanship and competitive pricing in Oklahoma. From wood to chain link to vinyl to metal fences, the Van Hoos Fence team does it all. Contact the Fencing All-Americans at Van Hoos Fence, 405-735-1167 or vhfence.com.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Pub W in Norman isn't your average pub. Think crispy fried deviled eggs, bold burgers, and local beers on tap. All in a chill space, perfect for watching the game or grabbing dinner with friends.
Located off of 24th Avenue, Pub W brings comfort food elevated. Pub W, your neighborhood pub. Tune in every Friday to hear more about the Hal Smith Restaurant Group during the Rush and the Dari Noka Show here on The Ref.
This is Jake Aldrich, partner at Aldrich Teasdale. At Aldrich Teasdale, we worked for the world's largest insurance companies before we learned how they truly treat people and know that they are out to minimize or deny what has happened to you. When fighting them, you need a lawyer who knows their game plan and will be there to guide you every step of the way. From your medical treatment to the final resolution, Aldrich Teasdale will be by your side. Don't wait. Call Aldrich Teasdale today at 405-447-HURT. That's 405-447-4878.
Holiday season is right around the corner, and you know what that means. Holiday parties. From small events to big buyouts, Heyday Entertainment has the perfect party package for you. Book a bowling party or a play party at Heyday Norman, or shake things up with a pickleball bash at Hey Pickle Pickle, right off of I-35 and Indian Hills Road. Skip the stress and slay the holidays when you party with Heyday. Call 405-310-3500 to book your event today or visit heydayfun.com. Heyday, where you choose your fun. Goldsby is hosting their annual Mothers and Twine Christmas Home Tour Sunday, December 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. Join us for a tradition of giving in the Goldsby, Washington, and Purcell area. At one of the featured homes, there will be Santa and Mrs. Claus to talk to and get photos with, as well as 2 country kitchens with delicious baked goods and sweet treats for sale at 2 of the homes. Tickets are $15, available at Libby's Cafe, where Mr. and Mrs. Claus will be, or Occasions, Christmas Expressions, Poppy by Poppy Lane, and Althea's Vault. Don't miss the Goldsby Christmas Home Tour December 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. in Goldsby.
Hey, Oklahoma, Colton Thompson here at Norman Hyundai. The holidays are right around the corner, and we know you've got places to be. Grandma's house, holiday shopping, and maybe even a little road trip. So we've got great deals on the full Hyundai lineup to make your season just a little brighter. Deals like 2.9% on the all-new Palisade, or even 0% on the Hyundai Santa Fe and Tucson. Plus, with America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles, you'll drive away with confidence knowing we've got your back. NormanHyundai.com.
I did it, Grayson. I successfully housed an entire Bad Daddy's burger in that break. I don't know what burger it was. It was delicious, though. Double patty, had some brown sugar bacon on it or something along those lines. You cannot go wrong with Bad Daddy's Burger Bar.
No, you cannot.
I also have a dish of banana pudding sitting in front of me that I will be housing in the next break. And if you somehow have not been to Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, up off of I-35 and Robinson there and that whole complex with the Target, the Crest, you know the area. You're familiar with it if you're a Norman local. You got to get to Bad Daddy's, folks, because that is some of the best food you can eat. Some of the absolute best food you can put in your body. And it's not just one thing. Like, really, the entire menu is full of can't-miss options. Absolutely incredible food. Absolutely incredible desserts as well, of which the banana pudding is the highlight. You're going to leave full in the best way if you go sit down and have a meal at Bad Daddy's. That's how you know. That's how you know you got something special, Grayson, is when you can eat and you can feel good. There's a difference between good full and bad full. You know the difference, right? You've experienced the difference.
Yeah.
You get bad full, you're like, I want to throw up.
Yeah.
No, you go eat at Bad Daddy's, that's a good full.
That's
right there.
full, and you're going to want to take
away.
a nap.
Yep, you're walking away feeling like, man, that was a meal that is not going to be sitting in my gut 3-4 hours from now, making me feel like crap. I can go take a nap, wind down, enjoy the rest of my day with a good meal in my stomach.
4-star Evan from Blanchard says, Parker went full Devon Mitchell on that burger.
And there you go. Never fails.
Well done.
A 913 listener says, makes sense why y'all went to commercial break early. We did not go to commercial break early. We were right on time, dang it. If anything, we usually go to break late because, well, sometimes we're just freewheeling. Sometimes we're in a groove, folks. That's how it happens in radio. But you get to make your own rules for the most part. Unless you're coming up on a top-of-the-hour break. And a legal ID. 915 Sooner says, when we go to Norman to visit my son or go for a game, Bad Daddy's is our first stop. Amen. Sooner Bump knows. I think last time I was at Bad Daddy's, I was there with Sooner, but no, that's not true. I've been there a couple times since then. But I got Bad Daddy's with Sooner Bump not too long ago. Good dude. Appreciate all of you regulars that hang out on the text line at 405-651-3439. 580 Trey says, I'm bad full right now. My brother, we are praying for you.
What did you eat?
Prayers going up.
Tattoo Baker says, Grayson sticks to McDonald's. I could not tell you the last time I ate at McDonald's.
That's
homie.
good. Yep. Got to treat your body right.
Mm-hmm.
Got to treat your body right. By the way, how you feeling after the ink?
Dog, my arm hurts.
Really?
Yeah, like it hurt up until I went to bed last night.
So give me an idea. Give me a sense of how much surface area this new tattoo covers.
It covered and like it's wrapped up right now.
Okay,
but
yeah,
like,
I can kind of see it.
But yeah, like it's from I'd say the outside, or actually like from the front of the bicep, like all the way around, and just like the inner arm is still not touched.
Are you pleased with the results though?
Yes.
Visually,
Did a great job.
Okay, good to hear.
And it did not run me as much as I thought it would.
How about that? Sounds like a win.
It was. It was a win. Took 3.5 hours, though, and it hurt like you know what, but...
Took 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it did take 3.5 hours.
Dang, man. Well, it's commitment to the craft right there.
Yeah.
So you got you a serious artist.
I think anybody that has tattoos would know this feeling. There's about 45 minutes into it where you're like, why am I doing this? And then you look at it afterwards and you're like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is a good choice.
Big Wink on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line says, Parker, can you coach tight ends? Can I coach tight ends? Yes. The question you should be asking is, should I coach tight ends? The answer is most certainly no. If you're looking for a Joe John Finley replacement, I am not your guy. He is infinitely more qualified than I am in that regard.
A lot of people still thinking, I saw this one text in the first segment, that Joe John needs to be the coach that gets out of town.
Why? I mean, your second leading receiver right now is Jaron Kanak. I understand there are some residual lingering frustrations with Joe John Finley. And look, I'm not going to try to talk people out of that. But your second leading receiver on the season is Jaron Kanak, a converted linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Joe John gets credit for that. Not all of the credit, but he certainly gets credit as Kanak's position coach. And moreover, he's got two really solid commits in the class of 2026 coming in. Ryder Mix and Tyler Ruxer. And so Joe John Finley has actually done a heck of a job in the year of our Lord 2025. You want to talk about you want to zoom out, talk big picture about his entire tenure at Oklahoma? Different conversation, and I get that. But in terms of what have you done for me lately, Joe John Finley's been on the ball in 2025.
Yeah, he has. And look, people are still traumatized from Bauer Sharp, who has now traumatized 2 SEC programs because the people in LSU want him out of town quick, fast, and in a hurry. But this year's been pretty good. And by the way, Teddy and I touched on this on Monday, too, with Caden Helms playing more snaps. They got a blocking tight end now.
They do, man.
That is doing really well in the run game, too. So, no, I think Joe John, if anything, he deserves to still be around.
When was the last time Oklahoma had a legit enforcer at tight end in the blocking game? The guy that springs to mind for me is Daniel Parker in 2022, whom I think many would forget he ever wore the uniform. Missouri transfer. That I believe Joe John had initially recruited and coached when he was on staff at Mizzou. But Daniel Parker was a great blocker. Didn't see the field a whole heck of a lot because Braden Willis was Oklahoma's main pass-catching tight end that year. But Caden Helms has made a difference. He's made a very tangible difference for Oklahoma as a blocker. He's only caught 3 passes this year. But I think if you told any Sooner fan that you could replay the 2024 season with Caden Helms instead of Bauer Sharp at tight end, you told him Caden Helms is only going to catch 3 passes all year, but he'll make an impact as a blocker, the majority of the fan base would take you up on that.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yes, give me that guy.
Yeah, hands down. And it's funny that this text came in right about when I was going to say this because we're getting a lot of texts right now. Texter in the 318 says, do not retain a coach because of high school commits. That's how LSU ended up with Joe Sloan at offensive coordinator. Look, fair point. But he hasn't done anything, especially in the recency, that would warrant you parting ways with him and risking that recruiting class. Now, if he was god-awful and the room was god-awful this year and you had to weigh, okay, this is an awful, at least a coach whose room is performing awful, and the good recruiting class, okay, now we have a conversation if that was the case. but it's not. The room is performing pretty decently, and he's got a good recruiting class. To me, that says keep him.
Speaking of LSU, I think we really are about to – I forgot how to talk there for a second. We really are about to do the whole Lincoln Riley LSU song and dance again for the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a text this morning, and, whenever there are certain folks that when they hit me up about something, folks I know from the agent world that are on that side of things, and when they let me know about something, I know concretely, without even having to vet it, that there's a sense of reliability there. Like there's validity to whatever they're passing along. And the text, I'll read you the series of texts, actually. It was phrased in a very humorous manner. First off, it was just a gif of Lincoln Riley. And the next two texts were, stopping every 100 miles, calling Baton Rouge. It's like, oh no, here we go again. To be clear, I don't think Lincoln Riley is going to be the next head coach at LSU, but it's hilarious that here we are 4 years later, and I don't know how quickly this is going to become a conversation point nationally, or how much of a conversation point it will wind up being, but LSU has a vacancy. Lincoln Riley's name is getting floated around for vacancies elsewhere, and now all of a sudden it feels like the two have finally kind of, collided with one another. I don't think Lincoln Riley will ever coach in the SEC. And that's why, I see Auburn Twitter posting about Lincoln Riley. Well, I'm hearing we could make a run at Lincoln Riley. He could be our next head coach. You don't want that, for one thing. A, you don't want that. Secondly, that's not happening. He's not going to coach in the SEC. He won't coach at LSU. He won't coach at Auburn. He won't coach at Florida. Why? Because he likes it easy. You know what's not easy? Winning football games in the SEC. The Drizzle on the text line says, Nittany Lions about to drop a bag. Man, it's going to be a very fascinating month of November. The next 2 to 3 weeks, the stuff that has the potential to go down, I have no doubt that with regard to the coaching carousel, we will be having conversations at the end of the month that we could not have imagined we would be having here on November 12th. But if you told me that by the end of the month Lincoln Riley had a new job, Eli Drinkwitz had a new job, John Sumrall had a new job, Brian Kelly had a new job, and boy, what a fiasco that has turned into with regard to his buyout at LSU.
That's nuts.
But, man, there's some really fascinating moving pieces right now behind the scenes. Brian and Bixby says the only way LSU could handle their situation worse is by hiring that tool. Speaking, of course, of Riley. Josh from Moore says, how do we go from Lincoln Riley left OU for USC to avoid the SEC to now he's going to be the next LSU coach? Exactly, Josh, which is why I don't think there's a shred of – there is not a single piece of me that believes the Lincoln Riley LSU thing is anything more than just a smokescreen. It was the smokescreen the first time around. Makes perfect sense for it to be the smokescreen the second time around because, Grayson – if you want more money out of another potential employer, what's the best way to squeeze more money out of them?
Look like you're going to a more prestigious program.
Bingo.
That can, by the way, offer you more money.
And a program to which your name has been connected in the past?
That works, too. That works, too.
I'm still on the Lincoln Riley to Baylor train. Still there.
It just makes sense, right? It just does. Papa Boganowski says, going back to my tattoo, I guess, when I got my inner right arm tatted, I was having convulsions on my left side. Crazy feeling. I'm not going to lie. I got mine on my left arm yesterday. I was feeling stuff in my legs.
Really?
Yes. It was kind of weird.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So is there like... I've never had a tattoo before, obviously. It's probably clear. But how much of a sensation of pain is there when the tattoo ink is being applied?
It depends on where it is.
Okay.
So in the front of my arm, side, not too much. Back of my arm, a lot.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Do they do anything to like numb
the
pain?
We went through the first 45 minutes, and then once it got to the back of the arm, it was starting to hurt. So what we did was we had to finish the outline because putting numbing cream on after would wash out the stencil, right?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I had to wait till we finished outlining all the buildings and then took a 30-minute break to let the numbing cream set in and then finished it out.
Got you. What are the buildings?
It is a skyline of DFW.
Interesting. His heart's across the Red River, folks.
Oh, come on now. One Star Big Week says, Grayson was a 5-star, but after the Joe John take, he dropped to a 3-star.
What was your Joe John take?
About keeping him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're not going to change some folks' minds. Some folks have already made it up in their minds that Joe John Finley needs to be run out of town, DeMarco Murray needs to be run out of town, needed reset at those two positions, and whatever collateral damage originates as a result of that, so be it.
Here's the thing with DeMarco, though. He pulled off grabbing DeZephan Walker in the record amount of time that he did. I don't know if it's actually a record, but it feels like it. You pulled that off. Now you're in the process of potentially flipping Messiah Mickens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talk about, and we all can admit and realize that DeMarco Murray is an excellent recruiter. You want to part ways with that dude? By the way, you want to part ways with him after the running back room has gotten steadily better since about the midway point of the season. I'm just saying, careful what you wish for.
405-651-3439. On the other side here as we prepare for another break, I want to talk about another guy out west that Oklahoma is trending quite nicely with in the 2027 class. The push into California is very, very real. And it looks like Oklahoma is now poised to capitalize on all of the legwork that they've done on the trail out in the Mountain Time Zone and the Pacific Time Zone throughout calendar year 2025 to date. More on that whole situation coming up here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is The Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman at 405-310-3189. Let them prepare your party. You'll be the favorite guest when you bring a Chick-fil-A nugget tray, sandwiches, or a mac and cheese tray. It'll be their pleasure to serve you, whether dining in, carrying out, catering, or delivering delightfulness to your front door. Box meals to nugget trays to gallons of lemonade and tea. They have plenty to offer for your next class party, team celebration, or family gathering. You'll be the big-time guest when you bring Chick-fil-A. Call 405-310-3189. And remember, eat more chicken.
Hey Sooners, I'm OU alum and Boyd Street Ventures founder James Spann. Some players are just built different, and so are some companies. At Boyd Street Ventures, we find under-the-radar Oklahoma companies with the drive, grit, and talent to win big. Our portfolio is growing fast, and so is our investor interest. Fund 1 closes December 31st, so don't wait. To learn more, visit BoydStreetVentures.com. That's BoydStreetVentures.com. Under the radar, above the crowd.
This winter, hit the court and join the action. The Youth Winter Basketball League is here, open to athletes of all skill levels. Build your game, make new friends, and compete in a fun, supportive environment. With flexible registration options and volunteer coaches focused on teamwork, there's a spot for everyone, whether you're playing for fun or aiming to compete. Don't miss out on early bird pricing. Scholarships are available for Norman residents based on need. Sign up today and make this season unforgettable. Visit YFACsport.com. Hey Ref Army, want to know what's happening in Norman? Pick up Boyd Street Magazine, Norman's oldest community magazine. Get the latest on OU sports, local eats, to spotlights on incredible businesses, nonprofits, and can't miss events. Boyd Street keeps it local. Read the current edition free at boydstreet.com or pick up any copy at racks across Norman and more, like at Legends, Interurban, Louis Pub W, and La Baguette. Follow Boyd Street on social media for bonus content and to find even more pickup locations. That's Boyd Street Magazine, your community connection.
Get behind the wheel for less at Eskridge Honda. Take $1,250 off MSRP on a new 2025 Accord SE. That's right, $1,250 off on a new Honda Accord SE. Stop by today at our new location on 89th and I-35 or online at eskridgehonda.com. Available to customers with approved credit through Honda Financial Services. See dealer for details.
Hey, it's Darian Oka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch at Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army, just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
Come on down to River Bottom Nursery at one of their 2 locations in OKC. Now under new ownership, River Bottom serves both the commercial industry as well as the gardener and homeowner at both their plant and tree nursery locations. River Bottom Nursery has everything you need to make your yard paradise. Call them today, 405-735-3636, or swing by one of their 2 locations. RiverbottomNursery.com, Oklahoma City's premier tree and plant nursery.
Hey, this is Tyler McComas with The Rush, and I just found a place locally that I've got to tell you golfers about. It's called Land Run Links in Oklahoma City, and it's the most advanced, immersive, indoor golf experience that you're going to find. It's like a golf simulator, but it's a lot better, and it's going to help your game a lot more. But hey, even if you're terrible at the game of golf like I am, this is awesome for all levels. Check them out, landrunlinks.com, especially with the cold weather approaching in Oklahoma. Landrunlinks.com. Check them out today.
Banana pudding, erased. Made quick work of it. It's how I roll whenever Bad Daddy's Burger Bar brings us lunch. Shout out to those folks.
You know what you need to start doing now
What's
as
that?
a side job to what you already do covering the Sooners? You seen those videos that Mr. Beast makes where he times himself eating certain foods?
No, I have not seen these videos.
Okay. I would have assumed that you didn't. You need to make you need to do something like that. How fast I can eat Bad Daddy's burgers or Bad Daddy's banana pudding.
I can eat pretty fast. It's a skill you learn when you're in radio because you only ever have 4 minutes to eat 4 minutes at a time. Now, I'm no Joey Chestnut, but I can eat fast.
Yeah, speaking of that, how the hell did you eat that much banana pudding that fast? Like,
I don't know.
Like, ladies and gentlemen,
I started eating and I didn't stop till the sucker was empty.
Yeah, like, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a small container of banana pudding that Parker just downed, by the way. Like, that's what a solid, 5x5 by 3 container?
Sure, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. You do eat fast, sir.
Dang straight. I don't think, I just eat. That's how we do it.
Pause.
405-651.
Pause.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Man, Taven Epps, now that he's decommitted from Texas, I guess we touched on this a little bit the other day, but really like where Oklahoma stands with him right now in the 2027 class. I think he winds up a Sooner as of right now, and I don't think it could be too long before he is officially committed to the University of Oklahoma. The vibe has been very, very good in that regard ever since he was on campus for the Ole Miss game at the end of October. And if Oklahoma lands Taven Epps, they lead for Case Alexander. There are those in the building at OU that are confident they're not too far off from locking down Case Alexander's commitment. Obviously, he's a legacy kid right down the road. He's been a priority for well over a year for the staff. Makes a lot of sense, right? Case Alexander and Taven Epps, if that is your foundation at linebacker in the 2027 cycle, boy, you have the luxury of getting to be very, very picky for pretty much an entire year. Like, let's just say by February. Let's say by February, Oklahoma has Taven Epps and Case Alexander in the fold, they can spend 10 months being very scrupulous about who their third linebacker take in the 27 cycle is. Might they be able to win the battle for Cooper Witten, the country's number one linebacker, Jason's son, down at Liberty Christian in Argyle, Texas? That's a battle Oklahoma will continue to fight. Might it be Colton McKibben, whom we talked about last Friday? Hard-hitting, really, really athletic linebacker who gets sideline to sideline in a hurry. Down in Carlsbad, New Mexico. He's somebody for whom Oklahoma's in strong shape as well. Could it be somebody like Colton McComb, just up the road at Edmond Memorial, who picked up his offer at camp over the summer and has already been on campus twice thus far this season? Regardless of which direction you want to go, Grayson, you've given yourself a lot of runway at that point to be able to be selective.
You love it when you come at everything from a position of abundance, don't you? If that is what's going to happen with Taven Epps and Case Alexander, then that's where you are. You're in a position of abundance. And you're in a position of abundance at a position where almost all of your head honchos on defense major in, and that is developing linebackers. Like, you've got a nice linebacker coach nucleus at Oklahoma. So you're going to have your pick of a lot of people that want you to pick them.
Let's say it's either Witten or McKibben. That's the third linebacker in OU's class. Let's say they get one of those two alongside Taven Epps and Case Alexander. That is a Brent Venables class right there. Like, that's the type of linebacker class that you expect to be signing when Brent Venables is your head coach. And if we rewind to Brent Venables' first full cycle at Oklahoma, that was the type of class that OU signed. Now, only two of those guys are still around, but it was Samuel Masigo, it was Taylor Heim, Lewis Carter, and Phil Picciotti. Picciotti tore his ACL twice, never really got to see what he could be. Carter couldn't really cut the mustard in the scheme, just didn't grasp it, decided to bail for UCF this past offseason. But Masigo's been good. He's been a valuable commodity in that defense, and Heim was always kind of a developmental guy. He's been a special teamer. He's seen snaps here and there at running back, but they feel like he can be something and will be something by the time he's done at OU. In 2024, though, one linebacker, James Nesta. That was it. In 2025, one linebacker, Marcus James. That was it. 2026, this class is really strong. Ja'Cory Smith, Bo Jandro, Jacob Curry, really good group. That 2027 class, if it is anything like what I just projected, Epps, Alexander, and Witten/McKibben, maybe McComb, that's an elite linebacker class. And if you're kicking it off with Epps, that's a top 100 player in the nation regardless of position.
Mm-hmm.
From a state, too, where Oklahoma doesn't have a ton of strong existing ties, long-standing ties. Which, again, just goes back to the value that Stacey Ford has brought to the table since he joined Oklahoma's staff late this spring. That dude has put in work out west. And you're starting to see the payoff. Damari DeJearn, Jackson Stokes, maybe Epps here before much longer. That was a phenomenal hire for Oklahoma. Wonder if he can coach tight ends, Grayson.
Let me ask you this, though, about Lewis Carter. And I'm glad you brought that up. Do you think part of the evaluation process for linebackers with Venables and Nate Dreiling and everybody else who's involved there is we're going to evaluate how you can pick up our system? Is that part of the calculus, you think, when they go out on the road and recruit these guys in lieu of Lewis Carter just not being able to get it?
Sure. It's something that's tough to get a gauge on because, until they're digesting the playbook, until they're executing everything on the practice field, you really don't know. You can hazard a guess, but you don't know. It's just, you got to use your best judgment with something like that. Now, I do think in Oklahoma's current linebacker room, they have a bunch of guys that are very well-versed in the scheme at this point, especially amongst that older crew. Kip Lewis, Kobe McKenzie, Samuel Masigo, and then, Owen Heineke, right, is a guy that wasn't even on anybody's radar until this past August when Brent Venables started talking him up. And he's really just, he's not as physically gifted as a Kip Lewis or a Samuel Masigo, but he thrives on knowing the scheme and playing aggressively within it. And it's helped him carve out a role on this team. And he was the green dot guy against Tennessee. And more than likely will be the green dot guy again this coming Saturday against Alabama, pending Kobe McKenzie's availability.
Any changes to your feeling about the availability of McKenzie and Thomas?
Not really, no. Still just kind of in wait-and-see mode with Kobe, and I don't think our Mason Thomas is going to play. A-Train says, if the scheme is hard to pick up, the solution is to not recruit low IQ players. A 405 listener says, Wonderlick for OU linebackers? Yeah, there you go. That can be part of the recruiting process. Go see him on the road, administer the Wonderlick. What's a good score on the Wonderlick? What's the scoring scale? Isn't it out of 50?
I don't know.
I want to say it's out of 50. Anything less than like a 30 on the Wonderlick, you are no longer a target for the University of Oklahoma. Brainy backers. A 405 listener says, it was the signature of his time at Clemson. Backers who understood the scheme were often the leaders of the team. Amen. James Skalski, current OU grad assistant. Great example. Phenomenal example. Ben Boulware. I think he coaches linebackers at Clemson now. I think he's the linebackers coach out there at Clemson. He was another absolute dog that Venables had at that backer spot. CD from Hockley says, 24/7 Sports Blair Angulo just put in a prediction for Taven Epps to Oklahoma as well. There you go, folks. There you go. That's why you listen to the show.
What made them decide whether to recruit him as an edge or an inside backer?
I mean, they liked him better as an inside backer type of guy. I mean, he's got the skills and he's got the versatility to play either one. I think when you look at what Oklahoma has the potential to land, what they already have coming in on the edge in 2026, in addition to what they have the potential to pick up in 2027, I figure, okay, there's more of a need for Taven Epps at inside linebacker in the future than there is for him at edge. And also, it's a lot easier to convert an inside linebacker into an edge guy down the road than it is to convert an edge guy into an off-ball linebacker.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I think that's the standpoint that they're coming at it with regard to Taven Epps. Chris Tate wants to know, are we in on any Florida Gator recruits since Sunbelt Billy got fired? No. I have no doubt we'll continue to be asked about Davian Gross in particular as we get closer and closer to signing day. There's really nothing there right now between him and Oklahoma. The Sooners are focused on flipping Jaden Petit. If they do not succeed in flipping Jaden Petit, feels like at this point they're just going to pack it in and move on to the portal. By the way, got the chance to talk to Noah Abibi last night.
Okay.
Got a story posted on him at OUinsider.com. And by the way, folks, that's the place to be if you want all of the good, all the stuff that we talk about on this show in much more explicit detail, i.e. you want the stuff that I can't say in front of a microphone. Go subscribe at OUinsider.com. Get your first week for just $1. But Noah Abibi, I did not realize this about him. His athletic background, and I mentioned earlier in the week, he's a converted tight end in his first year of playing offensive line. His athletic background, tell me how excited this makes you to potentially see this kid in Crimson and Cream. Basketball, soccer, track.
And the dude is like 6'4", 290?
6'4", 290.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's kind of terrifying.
That's a lot of boxes that get checked right there.
That's like some EPL type stuff.
No, what it is actually is it's much more similar to Michael Fasusi.
That
now,
too.
He's not as far along in the developmental track as Fasusi was because by the time he had committed to Oklahoma, he'd been playing football, playing offensive line specifically for 4 or 5 years. Abibi is still brand new. He's only been playing the position since January. But just knowing how strong that guy's footwork is going to be, in particular, how mobile he's going to have the ability to be from potentially a guard spot at Oklahoma, because that's what they're recruiting him as.
Mm-hmm.
You want to find you a late bloomer to turn the heat up on at the tail end of the cycle. That's exactly the type of guy you go for right there.
How is nobody else in on this guy?
It's a great question, man. Houston is. Houston's trying to flip him from Tulane as well. And who knows, you may have to, like, if John Summerall takes a bigger job, let's say he winds up at Auburn, you may have to ward off Auburn if that happens before signing day as well. But Oklahoma's going to take their shot with Noah Beebe. I like their chances. We'll see what happens. And we'll be on top of it for you here on Locked In. All right, folks, for this Wednesday, it is a wrap. The Rush is coming up next. For Grayson, Singleton, I am Parker Thune. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Don't go anywhere. 3 more hours of OU Sports Talk is ahead here on The Rush. Y'all take it easy.